Today we're going to talk about 3 free things you can do to make your room sound better. Hi, my name is Steve Collin from thesecretstomusicsuccess.com, and today we're going to be talking about 3 free things that you can do to make your studio sound a lot better. We have this desire. We want to have awesome sounding music. We want to, who wants to put out junk? Nobody wants to put out junk. So we want to get the best possible sound we can. That's our goal. That's our dream. That's our desire. But guess what? Your room is lying to you. Your room is against you if you don't know what you're doing. You might I really want that kick to come through. I really want that bass to just be like really there. But there's so many standing frequencies in your room. There's so many there's no bass traps in your room, and you're just like, and you're not even hearing. And so it's kind of it's kind of like saying, I want to be healthy as you're eating poison. Like it says poison on the label, this will kill you. And you're like eating it or drinking it saying, yep, this is how I want to be keeping being alive, or this is how I want to be healthy. It's not working. So let's dive straight in. So the number one tip I'm going to give you guys is move your speakers away from the wall. So move them 6 inches to a foot away from the back of the wall. You're gonna find that you're gonna have clarity. Instantly, you're gonna have clarity, and it's so cool to be able to do that. And you'll hear it. If you move your speakers away from the wall, instantly you hear that clarity. And one of the things you can see in the back room here, my speakers are about maybe 16. I think they're about maybe 10, or I think it's about 10 inches from the wall. The back there. And what I've actually done there as well, I've actually put some of the I think it's Auralex, the soundproofing behind that wall as well, so that any frequency that does end up hitting the back wall and comes back, it just absorbs it. And so it's really, it's a great idea. And so number one is you got to move those speakers away from your back wall. Do not have them up against the wall. Trust me, do not. That's the first thing. Just move it. And it's a free thing, and it's easy to do. Depending on your room, real estate might be, it might be a small room. The worst kind of room is obviously a square room if it's exactly square, but that's not often the case. You find it exactly a square room, but make sure you move them. That's number one. So number two, make sure you're the same distance from each wall. So if there's no point being in a square room and then you're all tucked up against one side, going parallel, you've got to make sure you're in the center of the room. Like I've actually measured mine. My room here, it's exactly the same. I think I remember I did it the other day, and I think it was 36, and that one's 36 as well. So I moved them to make them exactly. And I was like, I kept moving around, and I kept telling myself, you know what? Quarter of an inch, it's okay, it's all right, settle down, you're a quarter of an inch within, and it's fine. So make sure. Sometimes I just really want my music to sound so good, and so I want to be able to mix it I want my ears to hear exactly all the parts and all the pieces. I don't want to hear as I'm trying to get the bass coming through, and it's like I don't want to have a bad room. I want to hear as clear as I can, so I can have every single opportunity. So make sure they're the same distance from each side. So that's a big key. And you guys all know the triangle kind of the method too. So you got 2 speakers. They're both pointing at you. Have those tweeters pointing at your that's where you want to be at the ear level of the tweeters, not the low speakers. You want the tweeters hitting your ears. So the same distance from each speaker, it should be the same distance to your hearing wherever you're sitting in that mixing spot. But now what I want you to do is aim for the back of the head, because if you aim for the ears, sometimes it ends up being more of the front of the head, and if you aim for the back of the head, it's just going to have a little bit wider kind of sound. And, obviously the worst thing to do is to have those speakers close together, because then you're not getting a a full stereo field, you know. And so that's just those are simple little things, a free thing. So make sure that you got the same distance on the other side of each one. And number 3, know and then treat your reflection points. So you might know what are my reflection points. Well, you have reflection points on the side. So when you're a speaker, you have basically 3 different reflection points. So your speaker, I'm just pointing this one here. This one's going to shoot across there, and it's going to hit this back wall and then hit my ear. So that's one. And then also the sides of this speaker, if I can get it, sides of that speaker are going to hit that wall as well and come back to me at a different time. There's different times for all this, and so there's a reflection point there. And the same thing is on the other speaker, and then there's the back wall. But we're just talking about the side reflections right now. And so you've got to treat those areas. And so those are big, big areas to treat. One of the things I use, and it's really not, I know I said free things, and you could throw something out there. Maybe put a bookcase there. Maybe you could get 2 bookcases that you have, fill them up with stuff, or you can, you want to just soften those areas. You don't want them to bounce. Like, the worst thing would be is if they were windows on each side, equally on each side, and they were bouncing off glass. Glass is just, you're actually going to get frequencies out of glass. There's actually different frequencies that they're going to be playing. So that's going to be even more. So, it's going to trigger a frequency to play. And so that's even worse. But what you want to do is, if you possibly can, get some mineral wool, or they call it rock wool, and put it up there. They're so easy to make, these little sound absorbers. And so you can just put material around them. Actually, what I've got is just a piece of ply. Most of them come in 2x4s. So I've got a piece of ply. You put the rock wool on top, you just wrap it with fabric, and you staple it. So easy to do. And so you've got to make sure that you get those reflection points taken care of, because you're not going to be able to hear what's going on in your mix. And so those are big, big deals. And so I'm actually going to give you a bonus one. I said 3 tips, but I'm going to give you number 4. I'm going to give you a bonus tip, is bass traps. So you might be like, well, what's a bass trap? Bass trap is basically in the corners. And if you go ahead and just play one of your songs, play one of your tunes, turn up a good level, and then walk around the room. And if the sound keeps changing, you know that you got problems in the room. And so most of the time, there's bass that gets caught in the it goes in the wall, it goes into the corner of the room and bounces around. It just gets bigger and bigger, and so you want to dampen those. You want to kill those spots. You want to have bass traps. You want to trap it in there and make it disappear. That's what you want. And so bass traps are great. I don't really think you can have enough of them. You need just, keep getting them, get some more bass traps, because it's just but most of the time in people's mixing, it's not the high end that they're having troubles with. It's the low end. It's the low end, and you've got to be able, and that low end, it gets caught in the corners of the room, and then it comes back out unless you can absorb it and keep it, make it disappear, basically. So make sure step number 4, or trick or tip number 4, is see if you can get some of those bass traps. But these are just a few little tips that you can do to make your room sound better. You don't need to go into a $500,000 studio in order to have a good sounding room. You'll find a lot of Grammy-winning mix engineers and producers. They're in rooms just like a room like you and me might have, and they just know these simple steps of how to make your room sound better, and they know that they don't have to have the speakers on the back of the wall. There's going to be so much more low stuff just getting interfered, and they know, make sure you're sitting in the middle of the room. The speaker is the same distance from each wall, and just simple things like that. They know about the bass traps and having, constantly keeping getting rid of all that low stuff, because as I said, the low stuff is the stuff that always gets is always ruins our mix. It's always that muddy mix. It's always that horrible, muddy mix. So awesome, guys. Well, hopefully that's been helpful. And of course, if you want to download my free PDF mixing tips and pop songwriting tips and the top 20 song themes that music supervisors are always looking for and publishers are looking for, go to thesecretstomusicsuccess.com and download my free PDF there. And yeah, you're going to get a ton of information out of that. And I know that's really going to help you. So awesome. Well, hopefully you guys have a wonderful day and have fun with moving around your studio and making your space sound better. So awesome. See ya.